Nate Nelson here at Baltimore Comic-Con 2010. With me is BenTemplesmith, who's probably, you might know him from working on graphic novels such as 30 Days of Night, as well as doing some production work for the movie. Is that correct?
No, I did absolutely nothing to do with the movie. That's a longer story, but no, yeah, there's a little comic book called 30 Days of Night, which got turned into a horror movie a couple years ago. Did okay. I went to the set, got to meet everyone. It starred Josh Hartnett and Melissa George and a few people, and was directed by David Slade, who now gone on to do Twilight. We won't talk about that. That's the way he likes it. But he does a lot of other interesting things, and he was a huge fan of my work, and that's one of the reasons why he chose to do that movie. So
That's very cool. Now, I also know that you've done some work for video games as well, like Dead Space. Where else might people have seen your work?
I'm probably one of the comic artists that have probably done the most to do with computer games, really, in comics, which is weird. But I've done some of the first work I ever did was I did a couple of issues of a Silent Hill comic, just a couple, some of my oldest work. Then I did a True Rock Dinosaur Hunter comic, which never actually saw print, but they liked the art so much they went back and reworked the game slightly to make it look a bit more, the graphics look a bit more like mine. I know this because they showed it to me a year later and said, yeah, we didn't end up doing the comic, but here's what we showed. It's like, we think, a bit of a homage to you. And I've also done the Dead Space, a lot of Dead Space comic stuff, which also got turned into an animated thing online, which over 1 million people saw, which is probably the biggest thing I've ever done then. So, and everyone hopefully who knows games knows Dead Space, which was a reasonably good horror game, straight up my alley.
Did you have anything to do with the sequel, Dead Space 2?
I was going to, but time constraints and life issues meant that I had to bow out. Otherwise, I would be doing more. But and I've also done some recent Kane and Lynch work, just some covers for the comic to do with that. So it's all comic work, but it's all based on computer games. I don't know anyone else who's done that many computer game related things in comics. I mean, one or two maybe, but I've done 4 now, and this is getting beyond a joke.
Now, you mentioned Kane and Lynch. Do you have anything to do with the movie that's going to come out next year?
I wish no. I have my own movie-ish type things going on, but they don't involve me actually working on other people's properties. So it's usually involving, as in a lot of comics now, your own comics being optioned and exploited, and maybe things going on to do with movies and TV and stuff. So I have a lot of that going on because I have a lot of other comics.
Can you discuss any of your movie?
Well, I did a comic called Welcome to Hoxford, which is a werewolf prison romance. If you necrophilia and werewolves go together.
Because necrophilia is nothing like cracking open a cold one, right?
No. It's shaking a dead werewolf, by the way. I think it's never been done before in comics or possibly any medium. That was optioned by 1492, which is Chris Columbus's outfit for Chris Columbus. Did a bunch of things, including Home Alone and The Goonies, and he actually wrote Gremlins. That's where he came from.
I did not know that.
He wrote Gremlins. And I've got a comic called Fell, written by Warren Ellis, who is a rather big name in comics now, and you may know him ultimately because he wrote the comic that is now being turned into the film Red, which will be out soon. So that's his big claim to fame there, and there is some movement on that front, but I can't really say anything. But it's always been threatening to be a movie or a TV thing, so we'll see what happens soon.
And real briefly, can you tell us what you're currently working on, Choker?
Currently, I'm working on finishing up a comic called Choker with a great new writer named Ben McCool. That has interest as well. It's about a sort of a Blade Runner-ish type future with a lot of drugs, a lot of depression, a bit of a revenge story with a ex-cop turned private eye. It's a bit of a Raymond Chandler-y type thing with a lot of black humor, though. And I'm doing a new thing called Black Sky, which is a post-apocalyptic Band of Brothers type thing with Cthulhu squid. And that's also got a lot of interest, and I'm actually talking to people despite the fact I haven't even done a page of it yet. I've just done some concept art. But that will be an illustrated movie, illustrated film, which is what the company I'm doing it with is calling it, because it'll mix a bit of CGI, voice acting, and my illustrations. There's a sort of a quasi-animated film. and they're going to distribute that at places like Hot Topic and stuff on DVD, and hopefully on demand on TV as well. So, and it could go places. And then, obviously, there's other media interest in it now too, which is really nice. And that's what I've got to look forward to for the next year. So,
Well, Ben, it's cool. Ben, thank you so much for your time.